Hey bookworms! We are going to start off with our bookmark kit this quarter. I hope you are super excited. This is one of the stories I loved so much as a kid, Little Women. And I want to go ahead, I'm going to try to start doing the bookmarks like first thing because I feel like that would be a fun thing to have as we read. I don't know why I waited that one quarter. So I'm go ahead and pulling all of this out. We've got our bells and our soft pink ribbon. And then let me put that to the side. And then I've got my colors of acrylic paint here. We've got like a skin tone that I'll probably lighten up. A white, a yellow ochre, a red, a brown, a purple, a dark blue, and a dark green. And then I grabbed my gold from the subscription box for the one of my Artist Apothecary. So this is part of your Artist Apothecary. You got the glass pen last quarter, this here, and then I have some things coming for the glass pen eventually. I'm just still researching that. So anyway, we've got this, and I'm gonna go ahead and get started. I've got my water. I do have a heat gun ready, so that way I can dry things a little quicker. If you have like a little hair dryer or a heat gun, that does make things go faster. But we will go ahead and get started. So I love this illustration so much. I'm going to keep it more of like a wash. I want it really soft is my plan. So let's see how this goes. Let me grab a piece of paper towel here as well. I'm gonna start off with my round brush, which is the one I typically use the most. And I'm gonna pick up just a tiny bit of this skin tone. And I'm gonna I want all of this to come through really well. And I want it very light. I don't know why I did her teeth there. I'll have to take that up. So very light. I have a number 2 pencil I'll probably use too. I always like to enhance the drawing a little bit with just a regular pencil. So right now what I'm doing is just cleaning her teeth off where I got the paint. I don't want that to show up. Okay, and then I'm just gonna, and my brush is just wet and it's very, very little paint. Try to avoid the teeth this time. I feel like this illustration is so good for the March Sisters with them all laughing together. Okay. Hopefully you got a chance to read the first chapter, and I know shortly after that they do the New Year's, so I hope y'all are able to read those during the holiday week. So I'm going to put a little heavier paint like right under here to create like more of a natural shadow. There we go. I'm going to do the same thing under Joe's chin and around her ear, around the hairline. The cool thing about these canvases is they're already got like a finish on them, so they don't dry super fast like paper. So you have a little bit of time to manipulate the paint, which is nice. And then I think I've mentioned this in other videos, but if you ever mess up so much and you just want to start over, these actually rinse off pretty easily if you don't let it completely dry down. So yeah. All right, I need to soften this up a little bit more. All right, that's super cute. So now I'm going to do their hands since I'm still already working with the skin tone. I'm going around the edges. I'm going to dampen my brush a little bit more. Feels like it's drying out on me. There we go. I'm going to start in the areas that would be shadowed more. Okay, so all their skin is pretty much done. I'm gonna barely touch some reddish, hopefully, let's see, to their cheeks especially. It talks about how rosy. So I've got Joe, Meg, Beth, and Amy. It's my plan there. So I'm gonna rosy up her cheeks a little bit. Try to put a little dab of red on all of them. Hopefully you guys can see that in the video. I'm gonna pull this up here in just a second. So hopefully you guys, and I made Beth just a tiny bit more pinky than the rest of them, and Joe just a little more tan, because you know she's a tomboy running around outside all the time. So hopefully you guys can see that in the video. I can't tell. All right, so there is that. And then I'm going to go ahead and go in with their hair. So I'm going to make Joe have the darkest hair, Meg next. I don't know, I haven't decided about Beth yet. I don't know. All right, so I'm going to go in with just the straight brown into Joe's hair. And so my brush is not super wet right now. Just trying to get some of this brown on there. Okay, now I'm gonna dampen my brush and try to manipulate this color a little bit more. Like I said, I want to make it more like a wash because I really want this illustration to come through. Okay. And then Meg's hair. I'm gonna grab a little of this yellow ochre. I have not cleaned my brush. And I'm gonna pull the brown with that. Grab a little bit of white because I want her hair just to be a little lighter. I think it says something about her having light brown or soft brown hair, I think is what it said. All right, that's looking pretty good. I'm gonna darken Joe's up around the braid a little more, around the front of the hair. Give it a little more depth. Some scragglies around her face there. I like that. And then Amy is blonde. It does mention that. So we'll do her light colored here in a minute. Try and decide what color I want to do Beth's hair. I don't know. Let's go ahead. I'm gonna go ahead and rinse my brush and do Amy's because I'm trying to decide what color. I know I want to do like a brownish, but I'm not sure what color brown. All right, so I'm gonna just go in with the yellow ochre into Amy's and give her an overall like wash of color, and then I'm gonna go back with some of the white and get some highlights in there. Put a tiny bit of brown, hopefully. Mix just a little bit with the blonde just to give her some more depth, especially at the root up here. There we go. I like it. Okay. And then I would like to do, I think, more of a taupey color for Beth's hair, in which case, I might need black, which I didn't put out here. Let me see if I can mix like a, what happens, how light this color ends up being. It's not bad. So mix some of the yellow ochre, a little bit of white, and a little bit of brown. Let's see what that looks like for Beth. A little less chocolatey, I guess. I'm gonna go ahead and get this on here and see. All right, and then I'm going to pick up some white and put some highlight back into this area here. I think I'm pretty happy with that. Okay. All right. Okay, so the blue, the purple, the green and even the red are some colors that I'm possibly going to use for their clothing. I'm going to see if I can give them a little bit of color to their lips with the red. I'm going to mix some red and the skin tone together. Yep, that's a pretty, like a light pink. I'm just gonna barely dab it. I'm using my, I think this is number 5, yeah, round, and it's got a nice little tip to it. This is the one I use the most when we're doing the small stuff. Rinse my brush out and soften these colors a little bit. Clean it up. Okay, that's cute. All right, and then, so Meg and Beth both have like a bonnet on. I'm going to leave those white, and I'll probably enhance them a little bit with my pencil later. I do want to put a little bit more brown. Let's see if I can get some brown on their eyebrows. That looks good. And let's see, maybe that color, a lighter brown for Amy's eyebrows. All right, cute. Okay, so the book has like pinks and purpley, I don't know, burgundy-ish colors, so I do want to use some of that in here. So I'm going to mix some of my red and my purple, a little bit of white, because I definitely want some of that color, some of those colors pulled in, some pinks and purples, to go along and match our book and our everything we got going on. Okay, so I feel like Amy would be a good one for this color. So let's go ahead, let me get some water on my brush. Because again, like I said, I want to do more of a wash because I want the colors or the illustration to come through. I think that should be white there. Clean this up right in here. I feel like that is not getting clean though. Huh. Grab some white, brighten this up a little bit. Okay, now that same purpley pink color, I'm going to just deepen up just a little bit and add a little more purple. That was more than I wanted. Dang it. Oh, that's not too bad. Okay. I'm gonna add purple to Beth. Okay. And then I'm going to put Joe in blue to represent her boyishness. I feel like that's a little dark. I'm going to water that down a little bit. There we go. Okay. And then I picked up a little white. I'll pick up a little bit more. I want like a light blue area right here, like a shawl or something that she's wearing. Okay. I'm gonna add that color to this side too. There we go. Okay. And then trying to think of what color. I'm gonna add more blue to that purpley color that we were using earlier. I think. Oof. Maybe I'll add here more red. Try to make a dark purple for Meg. Yeah, there we go. It's like a plum. That's good. Get a little water in there. Okay. Cute. Okay. And then let's see. I'm gonna add a reddish bow around Beth here. All right, I am pretty happy with that. Just adding a little bit of a purpley color to Amy's dress to give it some shadow. And taking the straight purple right around here. I'm not watering it down as much, so it gives a little more depth. Now, when painting this, I know this one's very detailed. Don't feel like you have to get every little detail in here. You can definitely just do more of a, like even more of a wash than what I did, and just put a little color in there. It doesn't have to be, like this would be pretty, honestly, something like this would be really pretty just even with like a monochromatic, like just one color all the way over. So don't feel like you have to do quite this much detail. I think a lot of you seem to really enjoy this, the ones that are showing. A lot of you seem to enjoy the small little details and the small paintings, so that's awesome. But don't let yourself get overwhelmed by this, please. It's a nice thing about these. Even this by itself would be pretty without, you know, anything else going into it. Like just putting the little tassel on. So if you're at all feeling like this is too much, just do a little bit of like I said, like you could paint, like just do like a pretty like pinkish wash over this whole thing to give you a neat finish to it, and just let the illustration itself be the main thing. Okay, I feel like that's pretty good. Okay, so now you can see a little more depth in all of that. All right. I have a dark green on here. I want to do that as my background. So I rinsed my brush out really good, and then I am going to, what I'm going to do is do like an outline around the March Sisters, and then I'm going to water it down so that I don't cover up the Little Women writing. And sort of do like a fade upward. Okay, so to about right there, and then I'm going to take my paper towel, a dry spot of it, and I'm going to dab. Well, maybe not. Maybe I should use wet. Huh, it's already drying on me. There we go. I wet it a little more. That way it just sort of fades upward. All right, I like that. Okay, so I'm going to take my gun, my air gun, my heat gun, and then dry this real quick. To get my pencil. Is that one? Do I have my other ones in here? I got new little toolboxes my husband got me for all my pens. Okay, here's my regular pencil. This is the one I was looking for. And then my Prismacolor Ebony. I do like this one because it's very dark. A regular pencil definitely works too, but I just like to enhance some of the, especially like the eyes, the eyelashes, the nose. My kids are being loud. That's cool. Okay, so you can see there. So I'm just sketching around to enhance. See that the difference between Beth there and Joe? Like, she just pops just a tiny bit more. Again, this isn't something you have to do. I just find it makes like a cool difference. And it adds to like the illustration look, like the drawing of it all. So I've got one of my kneaded erasers. I'm going to pinch a little piece right there because I want to see if this works. Just like this spot right here. It was a little dark with that pencil. It picks it up a little. Okay, it's about what I wanted. It's the first time I've used, I think, this pencil. Honestly, I think I like the regular number 2 pencil better. I feel like it goes on nicer and stays better. It's not as dark, but yeah. I'm gonna keep doing that, I think. It doesn't, so I just put, like, smudged it a little too because of my fingers. I feel like this one stays on much nicer. Yeah, I like that one definitely better. Cute. Yeah, that little kneaded eraser works nice. Pretty much takes it off. It's not picking the paint up, which is good. Okay, cool. So there's just a couple spots I feel like got too dark with the pencil. So I'm just taking those off. And the awesome thing about a kneaded eraser is you can sort of mold it to how you want it. Like if you need a small area, which is what I'm doing here. Okay, well I really like that. I'm gonna pick up a little bit. I feel like it's too dark on Amy's color here. There we go, I like that better. I'm gonna put a little bit of white just here and there for some highlight, I think. So I'm gonna grab my brush again, dab the water off. I'm gonna do a little bit of white here. And I want a little white in some of their hair. Okay. All right, I'm gonna hit this with the heat gun again. I'm gonna pick up a little bit more. Just realized Amy is too dark in the face here with the pencil. There we go. Okay. Let me pull this up. I'm not quite done yet, but I want to show you where we're at. I like how you can see the texture of the canvas. It looks cool. Okay. And then I'm going to use this. So what I'm going to do with this now, just so you know, this is almost like a glue base. So be sure to wash your brushes out quickly afterwards so they don't get overly stiff. I dampened my brush a little bit, and then I'm gonna pick some of this up. I thought this would be super fun to add to some of the projects. So I'm going to just do it in the background and give it some shimmer. It's such a pretty fine reflective glitter. Okay, very cool. Let's see if we can see. Can you see the glitter? Yes, a little bit. There it is. I love it. I'm gonna hit it with the paint gun again, or the wait, hold on, heat gun. There we go. So I can dry this, and then I'm gonna put the tassel on. Okay, so I've got my light pink ribbon here. I'm going to fold it in half. I'm going to loop it through here. Pull through. And then hopefully trying to remember if I did this like before I put this together and what I did. So what I'm going to do, and I can't remember what I did originally. This is probably what I did, but I'm gonna cut it on, so let me pull this up. So I'm gonna cut this on an angle. So it's point, okay? And that should be much easier to thread through now. Maybe. These are tiny little holes. I don't remember what I did. There we go. There's one. If you needed to, you could grab like a pen and push it through. Come on. I just put my nails back on too, so that's not helping. So I have this thing that makes my nails look really bad, the psoriatic arthritis, and try to give my nails breaks because the nails, I'm sure, are not good for them. But they look really bad. My nails do now. They didn't used to. I noticed it got worse in the last few months. Okay, so there, at this point, I'm going to pull that ribbon or that bell down. I'm going to make a little knot. Pull, oops, almost pulled it right out. That should be good. Pull that down. And then these satin ribbons, I always like to heat set with a little bit of a flame. So I'm going to trim that. I'm going to grab my lighter because these are synthetic. And then so I'll just sort of melt that that knot there, sort of seal it all so it doesn't slip on you. All right, and then you can pull the ribbon down to the end, and that should stay nice. Look at that. There we go. Isn't that pretty? Very pretty. I love it. All right, so there is our bookmark with our bells that'll hang over. A little bit of a holiday flair since it starts off with the holiday, but goes in for, you know, into the winter and whatnot. So I thought this would be such a fun one to start the holiday week and then read about the March Sisters. So it's just cozy. It's a very cozy story about family and everything. So I hope you guys love it. I hope you enjoy the book. I hope you enjoy making your bookmarks. I love seeing your projects. Thank you so much for those of you that share. It's encouraging and really fun for everyone else in the group. So I appreciate it. And I hope you all have a wonderful week. And this is the New Year week, so I hope you have a wonderful start to your new year. And I look forward to continuing on with our art and stories together. All right, guys, have a great day. Bye.